Hello, this week, AMA Coffee Break Series, we'll be discussing the new data divide, smart versus rich. And I'm your host, Jamie Peters, Chief Client Operations Officer for Ketchum North America. And today I'll be speaking with Mary Elizabeth Germain, who's a partner and managing director with Ketchum Analytics. Mary Elizabeth's team consistently receives awards for their great work, including Amex 2020 Platinum Award for the most effective media intelligence, research, and insights company. Recently, this team and this work led by Mary Elizabeth has been selected to work more closely with Omnicom PR Group's Chief Innovation Officer to partner on developing Omni Earned ID, the new patent-pending precision communications platform. Today, we'll be talking about these innovations and what's behind the approach and why they're needed as businesses plan for 2022 and beyond. First, let's take a closer look about the amount of data that's available to marketing and communications professionals and how it's vast and varied. And it just keeps growing. In fact, it's projected to almost triple in volume by 2025 to 180 zettabytes of data. That's a lot of data. Just to put that in real terms, a single zettabyte can store up to 30 billion 4K movies. Wow. So Mary Elizabeth, let's talk about this opportunity for marketing and communications executives who rely on data to drive business outcomes. Is all of this data a great opportunity for them, or is it just too much?
Thanks, Jamie. I think when I think about this question, I think the answer is both yes and no. The reality is when I work with clients and have conversations, everybody has a ton of access to a ton of data. But it's almost like people are getting a little bit paralyzed based on all of the data that they have on hand. They don't necessarily have the means all of time to sift through the data, identify the right data, integrate their data, and really use the data in a meaningful way to drive strategy. So what I would say is most companies and many of the clients, again, that we work with are data rich, but where the gap is and kind of a great divide is being able to move and evolve from simply being data rich into being data smart, right? If you think of companies in the Fortune 500, in general, they all use data, they rely on data, they're built on data, they trust data, and they're looking for partners that can help them realize the true value and potential of the data to help drive meaningful strategy and gain that competitive advantage in the marketplace. The companies that don't succeed. So think of companies, BlackBerry's reinventing themselves right now, right? They did not pay attention necessarily to all of the data on hand when the iPhone first came out, and they've had to reinvent the company. Blockbuster, right? Company that was solely reliant on videotapes, not paying attention to what was going on with online streaming. Netflix started as a DVD company and moved into the streaming space. So it's really about how smart clients are and companies are and how they use data.
So with that, how does a company become data smart instead of simply creating or gathering more and more data? In other words, how do they get to what's relevant?
So I think that the opportunities that companies have, really, if you think about the data and analytics industry today, it's all about how do you connect the dots between disparate data sets? How do you integrate different data sets to give you a single point of view of the marketplace? There's been the emergence of so many new integrated data technology stacks that allow you to bring together all of those disparate sets of data, use automation and AI to sift through them. And that's really what we created with Omni Earned ID. It is a data technology platform that is built on disparate data sets, but allows us to create linkages that we never had before, specifically within the communication space. So it's a way to look at data differently, look at data more integrated and bring it from all of these just little data points fused into that single point of view.
So as I work with companies, or our teams work with their clients to advance their business in these measurable ways, I could see so many different aspects that Omni Earned ID could be applied. Can you give us some examples from your perspective?
So when you think about whether you're doing paid marketing, you're doing earned, you're doing influencers, those are the channels through which you want to deliver content and create an experience and a connection with your end user stakeholders. So think about if you're launching a new product, really understanding the marketplace of an existing product user base to inform how you need to position and talk about a new product, or the right channel strategy to reach them. You know, where does earned play a role? Where does influencer play a role? Well, that is all going to vary depending on what it is that you're trying to do. If you want to do competitive conquesting campaigns, really being able to zero in and understand your competitors' audiences, the type of content that they're consuming, the type of content that's driving, pickup from a viral perspective, the type of content they're sharing, the other things in the channels that they're paying attention to. Really, the way that the smartest way to put this data to work is to start with the job that you want to do. What is it that you're trying to achieve? Are you a new product in a crowded marketplace? Are you trying to steal share from competitors? Are you looking to just establish the reputation and overall corporate brand and thought leadership of a company? Really understand where you're starting from allows you to mix and match all of this different data to get a much more precise approach to how you communicate with your stakeholders, and allows you to deliver a more precise measurement demonstrating the impact that you're having on clients' business.
Are there any specific case use studies that you can provide that brings it to life?
Yeah, we have this great case, and I think we're going to queue up a video for everyone. Work that we had done for the American Egg Board, specifically in the influencer space, where they were looking to just drive volume of egg consumption. Eggs are in 90% plus of American households, so it's not about growing the base of consumers, but for them, it was all about how do they drive volume among an existing base. So let's show you this video.
When the American Egg Board came to us wanting to re-energize sales during Easter, their biggest holiday season of the year, we created the Incredible Egg Challenge and drew on Ketchum analytics to maximize its effectiveness.
I'm so excited to host the Incredible Egg Challenge, and it's kicking off today.
A virtual competition among select food influencers, the Incredible Egg Challenge invited consumers to vote weekly on egg-based creations and share their own. The question was, though, which influencers would deliver the greatest impact? That's where Ketchum Analytics came in. Ketchum Analytics uses Omni Earned ID, a patent-pending, insights-driven tool powered by a robust data engine to help identify the right influencers for clients' campaigns, predict their impact on sales, and then prove it. For the Incredible Egg Challenge, we evaluated and validated different food influencers based on a range of attributes, including interests, size of following, engagement with their content, and even followers' recent egg purchases, showing us which ones were most likely to drive sales. The system even helped us rule out a top celebrity, who it determined lacked the potential to impact sales since her followers purchase eggs less frequently. 4 foodie, crafting, and entertainment influencers were ultimately selected, sharing their favorite explorations from marvelous meringues to breakfast boards and tablescapes. We managed and curated the content across social channels, driving media engagement and consumer conversation. And when it was done, Ketchum was able to prove the impact of selecting the right influencers, attributing a 7% increase in egg purchases to the consumers who engaged with our influencers' content, bringing 186,000 new buyers into the category, and saving 20% of the cost with the influencers selected. Every $1 spent delivered $3.33 in sales, a 233% ROI. We call that return on influence. Discover how Ketchum and our industry-first platform can give you return on influence.
So when you think about the video that you just saw, it really illustrates the ability to be data smart, gathering insights and predicting based on influencers that you want to use, understanding the impact that they're going to have before you invest the dollars with them, understanding the right type of content in order to tell your story, and gives you the ability to measure a true ROI. What is that measurable business impact that this program in particular delivered?
You know, as being a client counselor and always focused on the benefits and the fact that we needed to involve measurement in all aspects of what we did working with our clients, now we have this ability to attribute sales and brand health to marketing campaigns or earned media to the corporate reputation. This is a major shift, and it's really showcasing that measurement and analytics has become absolutely fundamental, or the backbone of everything that we do. So Mary Elizabeth, is this something that the C-suite, our chief communications officers, the CMOs, is this something that they can drive?
Not necessarily. I think that they definitely play a role. You know, I think when you're talking to a chief financial officer or a CEO or a CMO, you know, they are looking to understand truly how different marketing communications channels are helping deliver against the overall success of the business. But I don't think it just sits at that C level. This is more about people who have the potential and the appetite for a little bit of disruption, right? It's people who are willing to embrace that the world continues to evolve and that evolution gives them access to new and different things, right? So it is a little bit of a change management exercise. People who want to be that agent of change, people who are looking for improvement and not relying on the status quo. Just because we've always measured impressions doesn't mean that measuring impressions is the right way to measure, right? So it has to be, and the mindset has to be, you know, where can we improve? Where can we use this data to be smarter in how we plan and program against the business objectives that we want to achieve? And where can we take this evolution to help us be more accountable, so we really understand the components of a broad marketing communication plan and how they're contributing to moving the needle. It doesn't mean that the way that we did it before was wrong. It's just this idea of, you know, what we have access to today, we didn't have access to 5, 10, or 20 years ago. So it's really all about finding the people within an organization who are willing to embrace that change and strive for some level of improvement, innovation, and even disruption.
Well, I would even go a step further and say, as we look past over the past 18 months, nothing is the same as it was prior.
Right.
We're all about change. What's the new way to do things? What can we bring to our clients and those relationships going forward, and really open the doors for new opportunity? With all that said, one last question for you. What can communicators and marketers do differently to be data smart?
So I think there are a couple of tips and a couple of things that I would want people to take away from the conversation today. The first is to really challenge yourself to think differently about how you're integrating data. If you haven't before, what are some of those small steps that you can take to really develop data-driven programs? Take a hard look at your KPIs. Is it time to rethink? And is it time to set the bar to a new level in terms of how you're going to hold yourself accountable? It doesn't have to be like full swoop all at once. Look for opportunities to test and learn and pilot different types of programs to see what does and what doesn't work for your organization. One question I would ask is, are you being predictive enough? You know, we now have a wealth of historical data, and through different data analysis tools and AI and automation, we can use what happened in the past to help us understand what's going to happen in the future. Are you challenging yourself to learn from how things worked and performed in the past to inform the future? And then the other component is, really ask yourself how your organization is folding PR into the broad marketing mix. I live in the world of communications and PR. Tools like Omni Earned ID or data tech stacks allow us to break down the silos between individual marketing and communications work streams and tactics. How are you bringing all of those together and matching them against one another so you really have that full 360-degree view of how everything you're spending your money on is performing and driving against your overarching business objectives?
Well, thanks. This definitely has allowed all of us to learn how to become more data smart. Thank you for your time today, Mary Elizabeth.
Thanks, Jamie.